we're seeing a wave of Canadian players hitting the National Football League, the likes of which we have never seen before.
I've been the one, see, they've been a two. Yeah, if you play with me, I bet that you lose.
Getting free is Joshua Palmer. And finally, something good happens for the Chargers.
Brown is in. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
I don't pick and choose, now I'm always ready.
Chuba Hubbard, he's in the end zone. It's a Panther touchdown.
Cause I've been a warrior, I've been a one.
The pick for Sidney Brown. And Sidney Brown's got room. Now he's upfield. He goes all the way for the Eagles touchdown.
Yeah, we coming.
This summer, we witnessed some of Canada's greatest athletes at the 2024 Summer Olympics. Unfortunately, that did not include football, at least not this time around. But it got us to thinking here at TSN, with all the elite Canadian talent in the NFL, could we fill all 22 positions on offense and defense and field a fully Canadian NFL team? Well, we may have a void for now at the quarterback position, but we realized a path to an all-Canadian NFL roster does exist with every other position. So with the help of our NFL experts at TSN, we built that team. And today, we reveal the path to an all-Canadian NFL roster, starting with the offense. With the departure from the NFL of Nathan Rourke, Canada looks to find who will be next under center. At running back, he is in line for a big bump in playtime with the Cincinnati Bengals this season, Chase Brown. At running back, he is a former NCAA rushing champion and Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, Chuba Hubbard. At left tackle, playing 968 snaps at his position for the Rams last season, Alaric Jackson. At left guard, a rookie third-round selection of the Arizona Cardinals out of Illinois, Isaiah Adams. At center, the only Canadian presently in the NFL who's taken snaps at his position, Dakota Shepley. At right guard, entering his second season with the New England Patriots, Sidy Sow. And at right tackle, the big man from Quebec who is entering his second season with the Atlanta Falcons, Matthew Bergeron. At tight end, the rookie third-round pick of the New York Giants out of Penn State, Theo Johnson. At receiver, they once played together as kids on the Brampton Bulldogs, Houston's John Mechie, and the Los Angeles Chargers' Josh Palmer. I'm joined by fellow TSN NFL reporter Farhan Lalji to take a more in-depth look at the offense of our All-22 NFL Canada team roster. Farhan, what stands out to you about the offensive personnel among our All-Canadian squad?
Well, obviously the main thing that stands out to me is we're still looking for our quarterback. We thought that was going to be Nathan Rourke, who was expected to spend the 2024 season south of the border. Things changed in a hurry, and he winds up back in the CFL with the Lions. Could be another Rourke, though. Curtis Rourke, who has transferred from Ohio to Indiana. He's going to play in the Big Ten if he winds up having a big season. He's also got the physical profile that NFL scouts look for. He could wind up getting that opportunity, and who knows, in the next couple of years, if Nathan decides to take another shot at it in the NFL, I think if he succeeds back up here in the CFL the way he did back in 2022, I think that's a very real possibility. And there are another 4 or 5 Canadian quarterbacks that are in the NCAA at the Division I level, so you never know from that group who sprouts into an NFL player.
I'll tell you, one of the things that stands out to me on this team is the pedigree at the running back position in Chuba Hubbard and Chase Brown. I mean, you have a former NCAA rushing champion and a guy who led the NCAA in rushing for most of an entire season who finished second. Both of these guys were in the Heisman Trophy conversation. I mean, that's just not the kind of thing we're used to seeing among Canadian players, especially when you talk about the degree of speed that both these players have. Both of them have track backgrounds. Chuba ran 4.36 for his 40-yard combine time at the NFL Combine. Chase Brown ran 4.43. So we are talking about elite top-end speed for the running backs of our NFL All-22 Team Canada.
Well, Dave, we've got potentially impactful running backs, but we've also got potentially impactful receivers. And there was a long gap before we had that again. You got to go back to the mid-90s when Jerome Pathon from North Vancouver got drafted in the second round behind Peyton Manning with the Colts, spent some time there. And then it was Chase Claypool in 2020 having that brilliant rookie season before we saw another Canadian receiver hit some heights. Now, Claypool's got a ways to go to get back to that level, but there are others. You look at Josh Palmer, who could be wide receiver 1 with the Chargers. Then there's John Mechie, who's ascending in Houston now that he's fully healthy. Go to Stanford, and you look at a player like Alec Iomanner, who could be a day 2 pick in the draft and eventually have a really good NFL career. So there are more and more skill positions from Canada making a name for themselves in the NFL.
Wow, let's talk about a tight end that was drafted just this past spring, the New York Giants' Theo Johnson. He's the latest from the community of Windsor to make the NFL. This has been a hotbed for a while for the NFL in Canada. Production over the years, Brett Romberg, Ashimego Atagwe, of course our own Luke Wilson is from that part of the province, Dakota Shepley with the Dallas Cowboys, all of them from the Windsor area. Theo Johnson continues that tradition, and every down tight end out of Penn State who should be in line for lots of playtime this season as a rookie, with Darren Waller recently retiring with the Giants.
Well, David, you mentioned Dakota Shepley, and he's a guy that has done it differently. He has spent his entire developmental career in Canada. He played his high school football in Windsor, played collegiately at UBC, spent a year with the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the CFL before spending time on some NFL practice rosters. So he is showing that there is more than one way to skin this cat, and that if you continue to develop and continue to persevere, there is a light at the end of the tunnel at the NFL level.
Now, there are certainly lots of ways to the NFL. You contrast that with a guy like the Atlanta Falcons offensive lineman Matthew Bergeron, who was playing football in Quebec, attended a camp at Syracuse University, and they essentially offered him a scholarship on the spot. A few years later, he ends up as a second-round pick and is slated to be the starting left guard in Atlanta this season. So Canada has some great offensive skill position talent that could potentially shine in the NFL for your fantasy football team this coming season. Be sure to check back in tomorrow as we reveal the defensive starters on our All-22 NFL Canada roster.